Prince Andrew's reputation has been destroyed by damaging allegations, from his links to the sex offender Jeffrey Epstein to claims that he sexually assaulted Virginia Roberts Joffrey.
It's really important to stress that not only has Andrew never been charged with anything, he hasn't even been arrested.
But that doesn't mean a return to public duties. He's simply too toxic.
But someone is still fighting Andrew's corner. His ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson. Once banished from royal gatherings due to her embarrassing exploits, she has slowly returned to the fold.
In the final years of the Queen's life, Sarah was at Windsor a lot. She spent a lot of time with the Queen. They shared a love of dogs.
These charming photographs, posted to Fergie's Instagram account, reveal she is now looking after the Queen's corgis, Sandy and Muick.
Don't forget, these corgis were the Queen's best friends, so to give those corgis to Sarah meant so much.
Fergie was also present at the Queen's funeral in 2022. No doubt, comforting Andrew over the loss of his mother. Fergie has been the one constant in Prince Andrew's life. After they divorced in 1996, stripped of her Royal Highness title and banished from royal life, many would have turned their back on Andrew for good.
Our children are very secure and very happy children because they know that their mother and father are the bestest of friends.
Most divorced couples rarely speak to each other anymore, even if they do have children. But Sarah and Andrew have got a very, very special relationship.
Remarkably, they still even live together at Royal Lodge, Andrew's residence in Windsor.
They've got to be one of the happiest divorced couples ever.
In spite of, or perhaps because of, adversity, Andrew and Fergie are still together. But what is it about their unusual relationship that has made it endure? Understanding that means looking back to how it all started. Prince Andrew has always known privilege. He was the first child born to a reigning monarch since the early days of Queen Victoria. Mother and son shared a close bond.
We've always characterised Andrew as the Queen's favourite son. Andrew was an indulged boy. She allowed him to get away with excesses that certainly Charles could never have got away with.
With this cosseted upbringing, he grew up to be self-assured. And with his dashing good looks and physique, women fell for him. The adult Prince Andrew quickly earned himself various nicknames.
Randy Andy is the best known. The gossip columns make no mention of a serious romance at the moment, possibly because the list of temporary romances is so long.
Andrew served as a Navy helicopter pilot during the Falklands War. Upon his return, he was one of the country's most eligible bachelors.
He was the dashing war hero who returned home to an adoring public with a rose clenched between his teeth. He was very good looking in his youth. He had an eye for the ladies, and they seemed to have an eye for him too.
The organisers of a sports display hadn't forgotten the prince's reputation with the girls. 12 of the most shapely danced before him, and the prince's face said the rest.
I think Andrew was given quite a lot of leeway in his private life, and this is at a time when the press were very interested in sort of royal affairs, literally.
He dated a string of glamorous women, including Koo Stark, the actress, and they were sort of seen as a dream couple.
Koo Stark is an expert on photographers. She's even taken to photographing them.
It's a very easy subject for me to take because they've been there.
She was very, very beautiful, and everything seemed to go swimmingly until a story emerged that as a young, aspiring actress, she had appeared in what was described as an erotic film, and that was considered beyond the pale for marrying.
But a better match was already mixing within royal circles. They may not have been royal, but Sarah Ferguson's family had close links to the monarchy.
Sarah Ferguson's father, Major Ronald Ferguson, was actually the polo manager to the late Duke of Edinburgh and also to Prince Charles.
This is where Fergie and Prince Andrew first crossed paths.
They had met many years earlier as children when the Queen had taken Andrew to watch various polo games. Sarah was often around and they had played together.
Fergie's idyllic childhood was ruptured by the breakup of her parents' marriage.
Sarah's mother was this society beauty, but she then ran away with this dashing Argentinian polo player. So Sarah then lived with her father and her sister.
Sarah was brought up really by her father, and that had a huge impact. Her father had to be, mother and dad.
Fergie's teenage years had been turbulent, but by the age of 18, she was working in London and her life had settled down. She dated a stockbroker, then lived with a millionaire called Paddy McNally. She enjoyed the jet-set lifestyle in his chalet in Switzerland.
He was a single parent, a man 20 years older than her, who had teenage children who she'd helped to raise.
Fergie ended the relationship when McNally told her he would never marry her. They remained friends. But a chance meeting with Prince Andrew was about to kindle a new romance.
Andrew was 26. The Queen was very keen to see him settle down, and so Sarah came along at just the right time.
After a whirlwind romance, their fairy tale wedding would delight the nation. But the Navy prince and his bride soon found themselves in stormy waters.
She was bored and frustrated because he was only there for 40 days of the year.
And Fergie's desire for attention would grate with the public.
She comes across quite boisterous, and that is really when the public and the press start to turn on her.
Andrew and Fergie's relationship began in 1985 when she appeared on the horizon of her dashing Navy prince. The matchmaker was none other than Princess Diana.
They met properly at Royal Ascot in 1985, and there'd always be a lovely house party at Windsor Castle. And it's said that Princess Diana, who was Sarah's fourth cousin, thought, what a jolly person she is, let's invite her to the house party.
And Sarah came, and by all accounts was a great success. And she and Andrew absolutely hit it off that night.
But it was clear they would not be a traditional royal couple.
We were made to sit next door to each other at lunch at Ascot.
Yes, and you made me eat chocolate profiteroles, which I didn't want to eat at all.
I then didn't have any, so I got hit. Then
Very
it started
hard.
from there. I think that's probably where it...
I was meant to be on a diet.
Feeding one another profiteroles in public is not the way to do things, especially if you're a part of the royal family.
Despite the faux pas, the Queen approved of their union, and the couple announced their engagement in March 1986. Both were keen to set the date for their nuptials.
I would very much like it to be in the summer. And so would Sarah. Sarah more so. Because I think that...
Get on with it.
Get on with it and get it out of the way.
Just a few months later, in July, 500 million people worldwide tuned in to watch Sarah Ferguson marry Prince Andrew. Fergie's 17-foot satin train had the initials A and S intertwined and sewn in silver beads.
It was a fairy tale wedding. I mean, she walked in a commoner and she left a duchess. It was her Cinderella moment.
At this precise moment, Sarah Ferguson became Duchess of York.
What I loved about that wedding, which was so unusual for a royal, she just was beaming. She just enjoyed every single moment, and you could see that.
Even when curtsying to the Queen, it was clear that the new Duchess would do things her way.
Sarah was apparently told not to kiss on the balcony. And I think that's the first sign that we saw that Sarah's quite a rebel. And she said, "Are you kidding me? All these people out here cheering for me? We're going to kiss each other." And so they did.
For the most part, the press and the public adored this new fun and relaxed royal couple, especially the daring Duchess.
The newest arrival typifies the greater freedom of the young royals, becoming the first royal duchess to get a pilot's license, complete with very un-Biggles-style hair grips.
The public just loved Fergie. They couldn't get enough of her. It was because she was fun. Sarah was a breath of fresh air. She really was.
The Yorks were not only popular at home. In 1987, they began a 25-day tour of Canada.
My first memory of a big trip with them was going to Canada, and they were front page news day after day.
I could not go through a whole tour, letting my darling husband of a year and a day do all the public speaking. So we agreed, for once, that I should have the last word tonight.
The public had really bought into the happiness, I think. I mean, they were clearly very happy together.
They seemed incredibly well matched. They were a happily married couple who wanted to be in each other's company.
But all honeymoons come to an end, and the fun-loving personality which had won Fergie so many admirers began to grate on them.
She came in for some criticism for liking the product too much.
Well, it's very good wine. This barrel's for me.
With customary gusto, Fergie took part in the now infamous It's a Royal Knockout in 1987.
She is positive, exuberant, confident. She wanted to be there. She wanted to help Prince Edward.
It was a moment of craziness, and one that Sarah seemed to embrace. I think that's where her character really came out. She's running around, jumping, screaming. There wasn't much royal decorum.
She comes across quite boisterous, and that is really when the public and the press start to turn on her.
Like many public figures of the day, Fergie was mocked on the satirical puppet show Spitting Image.
They particularly majored on the fact that she had freckles, red hair. It was undermining of her.
I think it really, really did affect her. You know, everyone's scrutinising her, what she looked like.
She wasn't as slim as Diana, and this was pointed out to her. The newspapers always wanting a fresh story.
When the press wrote about me at the age of 26 as the Duchess of Pork, you really do take it very seriously, and what happens is you eat more.
She is human. She may be a princess, but she has feelings, and it hurt.
Despite the negative headlines, Andrew and Fergie forged ahead together.
Royal Yacht Britannia, Royal Yacht Britannia. We wish to welcome you to the port of Long Beach, Los Angeles, on behalf of the entire group here.
In 1988, Andrew and Sarah head to the US for another royal tour, and America loves her. But the UK is starting to turn on her. They're starting to find her a little bit tacky. She's a bit too loud. And so you've got this real difference between the two countries.
You know what the British press are like. They will build you up and they will bring you down. And when Sarah first came on the scene, they thought, oh, wow, this big personality full of laughs and giggles and doing jokes with all the press.
She made sure everyone had spotted her hair decoration.
Check out that.
There were 3 silver flags, 2 British and 1 American.
And then they drop you from an almighty height. And for Sarah, it was really tough.
Again, Fergie's confidence and lack of inhibition or protocol made headlines.
At last, I have the turn to talk.
Confidently, she dealt with a heckler.
All these men around here.
Sarah was always trod this very fine line between exuberance and vulgarity, and it was something she never really mastered.
When an American politician at this dinner shouts out, "We love you,"
Love you!
she's straight back.
I'll see you later.
And people bridled at that, and they thought, well, is that really the way for a daughter-in-law of the Queen to behave?
But it wasn't all bad news.
The York family, and we can call them a family now, left the Portland hospital.
2 years after their marriage, the Yorks celebrated the birth of their daughter, Beatrice.
When she handed the baby over, she displayed absolute confidence in the father's newfound skills.
Eugenie followed almost 2 years later.
God save the Queen! Our wishes to both the baby, to the father and the mother.
But their happy family life didn't last long. Andrew and Fergie's unusual relationship faced its first big test when it became clear how much the prince's naval career would keep them apart.
His posting follows 3 months of specialized training, and the Duke will now lead a flight team aboard the frigate for around 18 months.
It was a marriage which initially was very happy, but there was this slight shadow over it, which was that he was a naval officer and away a lot of the time. And I think she was bored and frustrated because he was only there for 40 days of the year.
It's terrible. I mean, you're going away and leaving what you love behind. It's a fantastic job for a single man. It's getting less and less so for a married man.
I think it's tough on any services wife. I mean, lots of people talk about the pressure of, you know, mostly being home alone with the kids, and that was certainly true with Sarah.
The new mother was lonely and lacking support. In 1992, private photos emerged.
A cleaner found a set of holiday snaps showing the Duchess and her 2 children with a Texan, Steve Wyatt.
So questions were being asked. Who is this man? Why is he being photographed with the Queen's grandchild? The palace wasn't happy.
Wyatt was handsome and attentive. Gossip of an affair circulated in society for months.
Sir, is this a special occasion?
I think Andrew was baffled by all this because, as far as he was concerned, he was still very much in love with his wife, but clearly there was an underlying loneliness.
Obviously, what you don't know with any marriage is what's happening beneath the surface.
It seemed to be the end of their relationship.
The announcement that the Duchess of York had initiated discussions about a separation from her husband came as she arrived to pick up their daughter from school.
In March 1992, the couple's split made headline news.
It's a not easy thing to marry into the royal family for things to go wrong, and you're then tabloid fodder the rest of your life.
Fergie was soon spotted with another American, John Bryan, a friend of Wyatt's and her financial advisor.
What is your exact relationship with the Duchess, Mr. Bryan?
Scandalous pictures emerged of them together and caused a frenzy on Fleet Street.
He was shown in some very tender and intimate snaps with the Duchess, famously described as sucking her toes. They were clearly an intimate couple, and the photographs were plastered all over one of our newspapers.
It was a sellout scoop for the Daily Mirror. 300,000 extra copies were printed, and as the public snapped them up, the newspaper was unrepentant.
Unfortunately, this story appeared in the tabloid press when she was at Balmoral for the summer holidays. The newspapers are all laid out at breakfast, and you can imagine the combustible atmosphere that morning when pictures emerged.
It was utterly humiliating, of course, for Prince Andrew. In fact, the entire royal family were there. We know from Fergie's own account that the Queen was extremely upset and angry about it. She was effectively banished from that day from royal properties.
She was cast into the outer darkness, specifically by Prince Philip, who could not stand her.
Speculation about the Duchess of York increased when a car sped out of the royal estate full of suitcases.
Fergie fled the castle and the press.
No longer the luxury or privilege of an aircraft of the Queen's flight, for the Duchess just an ordinary scheduled flight to Heathrow.
All her royal perks and privileges were removed pretty much at a stroke.
Sarah found herself in circumstances that she never thought she'd be in. She wanted to be married to Andrew forever, and she wanted to be a royal princess, but now this was over. She was no longer a royal and was totally devastated.
But if most relationships would have been left irreparably damaged by these events, remarkably, theirs was not. Cut off from her once lavish lifestyle, the solution to Fergie's financial woes would create yet more controversy.
She was cashing in on lifting the lid.
And as the scandal surrounding Fergie caused even greater embarrassment, it would be Andrew who would come to her rescue.
Not only did he stand by her, he actually helped her to pay off some of those debts.
The Duke and Duchess of York announced their divorce in May 1996. But for this unique relationship, it was an unconventional parting of the ways.
The divorce for Sarah was absolutely devastating. She didn't want to be divorced. She married forever.
Andrew was forever there for her. They continued to see each other. It seemed to us, watching on from the media, as an extraordinary example of how to separate from your wife, because it seemed that he couldn't really separate from her.
By August 1996, Sarah Ferguson was denied use of the title Her Royal Highness. Fergie found it awkward to adjust to more modest circumstances. Living beyond her means quickly got her into financial difficulty.
I think it's difficult because people expect, if you're a royal duchess, divorce or not, your world turned out, certain lifestyle which she probably had got used to.
In typical fashion, Fergie made light of the negative press.
She was effectively cut off from the royal treasury. People on her behalf and on Andrew's were trying to negotiate some kind of divorce settlement.
When her marriage broke down, her overdraft was said to have been £200,000, allegedly paid off under a separation settlement, which also involved Prince Andrew taking financial responsibility for their children, Beatrice and Eugenie.
We don't know the exact financial details. Apparently she was left enough to buy herself a home, but she'd accrued so much debt, the chances are that she used most of the divorce settlement to pay off the debt.
In 1996, it was thought Sarah Ferguson's debts stood at around £1 million. Just over a year later, they were reported to be in the region of £4 million.
How could you run up that sort of debt? But she was extravagant, she was forever buying friends, family, expensive gifts. She also insisted on having a very large staff to take care of her, and the bills kept mounting and she couldn't pay them.
So she had to work, and she had to reinvent herself.
Fergie knew she had cachet as a former royal. She also knew the best place to sell herself. With a rebrand in the United States. Fergie made a series of cranberry juice commercials for American TV and is said to have pocketed $500,000.
She made adverts in America, and, for her critics this side of the Atlantic, it was more evidence of how terribly vulgar she was.
The Americans loved her backstory. They saw her as someone who'd been exiled by the chilly Brits, and they welcomed her with open arms.
Fergie also teamed up with Weight Watchers, making another set of glamorous TV commercials. Fergie was a success in America and signed numerous endorsement deals.
Brands wanted access to Sarah and her royal connections because they wanted to be associated with that.
By February 1997, Fergie was on the verge of paying off her creditors.
She was a duchess in debt, but tomorrow Sarah Ferguson will announce she's close to paying off her overdraft with Coutts Bank, around £4 million of it.
But Fergie hadn't just made money from her royal status. She'd cashed in on her royal private life when she published her autobiography, My Story, in 1996. Fergie told the world that she had been made to feel unwelcome in Buckingham Palace and revealed secrets about the breakdown of her marriage to Prince Andrew.
By the mid-90s, Sarah absolutely was cashing in because she didn't have a choice.
And the public lapped it up, of course, because it had the imprint of a member of the royal family, albeit one who was cast out.
A new book meant a promotional tour, and Fergie returned to America. Oprah Winfrey was among the broadcasters who gave her screen time.
Oprah Winfrey, then and now, the biggest name on talk television in the world. And Sarah gave this long interview about her life to Oprah, and it was lapped up coast to coast in the States. But over here, there was a slightly different attitude.
It said that the Queen and senior members of the royal family were so upset because she was cashing in on lifting the lid. There was a line that the royal family wanted to draw: don't trade secrets of ours in order to financially benefit you.
But despite the fallout, Fergie and Andrew intrigued royal watchers by maintaining a remarkably cozy relationship.
Sarah and Andrew were always best friends. They loved each other, and they still love each other, and they love each other's company.
Andrew and I speak every day, and it's very important that we do keep that huge friendship.
At this time, Prince Andrew's naval career was ending. A new chapter in his life was about to begin.
Since 1997, he's worked in London for the Navy's diplomacy unit. Now that he's on Civvy Street, Andrew is going to be a roving ambassador promoting British trade overseas.
The idea was it was a sort of semi-government appointment, unpaid, and your job was to go around the world flying the flag for Britain.
It was noted that his trips abroad, supposedly on government business, seemed to go via ski slopes, golf courses, and other exotic locations, all at the taxpayer's expense.
By this time, Andrew was getting a lot of heat for his work rate and the amount of trips he took, often by helicopter, to golf courses. So he gets the nickname Duke of Golf. He gets the nickname Air Miles Andy.
This is a man who thought it was okay to take a helicopter from Windsor to Kent in order to play golf, and it cost the taxpayer £5,000.
During his decade in the role, Andrew's travel expenses reached £4 million, and his security costs another £10 million.
What is an extravagant lifestyle?
Travelling by private jet, using helicopters when you could take a train.
But it is again, it is the maximisation of my time for the best value for money, and that's the way and I'm not the one that makes those decisions.
In 2007, the Duke and Duchess of York's marital home, Sunninghill Park, was sold. It had been a gift from the Queen, and the unusual circumstances of the sale prompted further criticism about Andrew's business dealings.
The house was sold to a wealthy Kazakhstani businessman for apparently more than it was worth, and people thought, well, that's a bit odd, isn't it?
The property was bought for £15 million by the son-in-law of the former Kazakh Prime Minister, £3 million over the asking price. Later, he bulldozed it to the ground.
If you're used to a certain level of lifestyle, that's what Andrew and Sarah have tried to maintain, and arguably is the root of all of their problems.
Andrew and Fergie seemed driven and united by a shared desire for a luxury lifestyle. The lengths they would take to finance it would lead to an even bigger scandal. Posing as an Arab businessman dubbed the Fake Sheikh, News of the World journalist Mazza Mahmood had played out hundreds of undercover stings on high-profile personalities since the 80s. Victims were cajoled into making embarrassing confessions.
Fergie was clearly targeted for having money problems.
She was then offered £500,000 to arrange a meeting between the Fake Sheikh and Prince Andrew.
He filmed these exchanges with Fergie, and they were toe-curlingly embarrassing. Fergie is so keen to offer up her, by that stage, divorced husband, but still firm friend, Prince Andrew.
It's one thing making money off of being a royal, but it's another thing to open up connections to other members of the royal family in exchange for cash.
But the Fake Sheikh had caught far worse on camera. After agreeing she would be paid her £500,000 fee by wire transfer, Fergie was seen accepting a cash deposit of just under £30,000.
It was a very embarrassing episode in her life, and yet again it revealed the huge financial difficulties she's got into.
Prince Andrew knew nothing about this meeting, and amazingly, he stood by her. And not only did he stand by her, he actually helped her to pay off some of those debts.
She issued a public apology to Prince Andrew, to all those people who had believed in her and had supported her.
Sarah Ferguson had been publicly disgraced again. But instead of turning away, Andrew comforted her, another sign of their close bond.
Sarah's been through some of the most ghastly times, been on the front pages for all the wrong reasons. And Andrew is there saying, look, we'll get through this, but we'll get through this together. They're there for each other. When one is pushed down and has done something wrong, the other one picks them up.
And while many divorcees go their separate ways, Andrew and Fergie remained tight, and they caught each other whenever they fell. And while it was unusual, perhaps it was no surprise that in 2008, Fergie moved in to share Andrew's home, Royal Lodge in Windsor.
It is a strange one because most divorced couples never want to see each other ever again, and this divorced couple live together and apparently get on really well together. I mean, there are rumours that they're, going to get married again.
Andrew may have been happy to forgive and forget, but other senior royals seemed less inclined to. Fergie was excluded from royal events for decades, including the wedding of the then Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. But in 2018, she was invited to the Sussexes' wedding. Was this a sign that the family were willing to forgive her earlier excesses?
Fergie was so excited about being invited to Meghan and Harry's wedding. She just thought, you know what? This is an olive branch. I am being welcomed back in to the bosom of the royal family.
While Fergie's standing in the public eye has improved, Andrew's has declined dramatically due to the company he kept.
Andrew was drawn to wealth and power, and he didn't seem to care who that associated him with.
The prince has been linked to highly controversial figures, from his meetings with Colonel Gaddafi's son to his holiday with a convicted Libyan gun smuggler.
I think his judgment is one of his major flaws in his character. He was a very bad judge of people, he's a bad judge of himself, and a lot of that is rooted in who he is and this sort of sense of entitlement that he has.
But one of Andrew's friendships would prove more damaging than them all.
He was disgraced. That's a difficult thing to recover from.
And would test Fergie's decision to remain by his side.
She never backed away, she didn't hide.
For more than a decade, Prince Andrew has been engulfed in the biggest controversy of his royal life because of his links to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Andrew met Epstein back in 1999 through his good friend, Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine was Epstein's girlfriend at the time, and Epstein was understandably very keen to meet and affiliate with Prince Andrew because that gave him an access to the world of royalty.
He had his own private island, and he would often fly his rich friends and his influential friends, and Prince Andrew among them, to this private island on his private jet.
Fergie benefited from the link to Epstein too. She accepted a loan from him and later admitted that it had been another huge error in order to get debt-free. Shortly before Epstein attended Princess Beatrice's 18th birthday party, a warrant was issued for him over the sexual assault of a minor.
Andrew invited Epstein to Windsor Castle and other royal residences on numerous occasions. It says a lot about Andrew's poor judgment when it comes to character.
Epstein served 13 months in prison for soliciting an underage girl for prostitution. 2 years later, in 2010, Prince Andrew was seen with Epstein during a 4-night stay at Epstein's New York mansion.
He says he went to New York to end the friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, to do it the decent way. Well, that doesn't take several days to do.
The story exploded. Virginia Roberts-Joffre accused Prince Andrew of sexual misconduct.
She alleges that she was made to sleep with Prince Andrew when she was underage, an allegation he strongly denies.
There is this image of him with Virginia Roberts-Joffre, allegedly. Andrew absolutely denies that he was guilty, but that image has been very damaging.
In 2019, Epstein took his own life in prison. In November that year, Prince Andrew tried to rebut the allegations being made against him in a rare and controversial interview from inside Buckingham Palace.
The Newsnight interview with Emily Maitlis, bizarrely, Andrew thought was a success. That's before it was broadcast and the reviews came in. He thought it went well. It didn't go well.
It was a singular example of his lack of judgment, that he was able to report back to the Queen afterwards that he thought it had gone quite well.
Criticism of the interview was so widespread that days later, Andrew stepped down from royal duties.
He was disgraced. That's a difficult thing to recover from. The HRH hasn't been withdrawn, but it isn't used.
He can no longer represent the royal family on either the international or the domestic stage.
In 2021, Virginia Joffre sued Prince Andrew for sexual assault. Despite consistently denying those claims, he made a vast payment, reported to be as high as £12 million.
He settled with no admission of liability, but the bottom line is he paid several £1 million to somebody he says he's never met.
Stripped of all but his royal title, Andrew turned to the one person who had been there from the beginning. Fergie has defended and praised Andrew, both in her social media and in TV interviews seen by millions.
He's been a wonderful husband to her and a wonderful friend. So why shouldn't she speak out?
She's gone onto television shows to tell the world this, to put out a positive message for Andrew at a time when he's really needed it.
This is what she was taught from her father. It was loyalty and stay loyal no matter what. I'm going to be by your side. And that's what she does for Andrew and still does.
Say what you like about the Yorks, but they are a very tight, fiercely protective unit.
They still have each other, but now their relationship has seen an ironic role reversal.
The Queen always liked Sarah, so when Philip passed, she was welcomed back at royal residences, and King Charles has really continued that.
While Fergie is now welcome at royal occasions, Andrew usually stays away. That's not their only reversal of fortune.
He has no way of earning any money anymore.
He's by no means a pauper, but his £20,000 a year pension, frankly, isn't going to cut it.
Who should it be but step forward his ex-wife, Sarah? She was there for him in the way that he had been there for her all those years ago.
So it's now down to Sarah to earn the money.
Follow your heart, but do you dare?
And this homespun cosplaying social media video from 2021 saw Sarah promoting her latest business venture.
Lady Margaret, she loves to write side-saddle.
She's penned many children's books, and now she's moved into Mills and Boon, and those novels are hugely successful. I mean, she really is the breadwinner of the family. It's not necessarily the same lavish lifestyle that Sarah and Andrew had in the past, but they're definitely making ends meet.
Sarah and Andrew's relationship is a roller coaster. If it isn't Andrew having a bad time, it's Sarah having a bad time, and they pick each other up.
They need their mutual support now more than ever. In 2023, Fergie received treatment for breast cancer.
She says she's hugely thankful to the medical professionals who found her cancer at an early stage during an NHS mammogram.
Sarah sadly had to have her breasts removed and reconstructed, but Andrew had been her strength, who she cried to. He was the one who helped her through this, and obviously her girls. But it was amazing for her to come out and talk about it so openly, so honestly.
Typically, Fergie has used the experience to help others, passionately promoting the importance of routine screenings on her Tea Talks podcast.
Go and get checked. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Don't say it's not going to happen to you. Doesn't matter if you feel fine, because cancer can be so silent.
So what does the future hold for this unique relationship? The royal couple who are not a conventional couple. Whilst Fergie's public profile is a positive one, the same cannot be said for Andrew's. The question remains, is there any way back for him?
I don't think there's any great comeback for the Duke of York.
The idea of bringing Andrew back into the royal fold in an official capacity would simply be too damaging for the royal family.
Scandal has followed Andrew and Fergie throughout their story. She sought out attention and indulgence she just couldn't afford. He mistook deference for friendship, his judgment clouded. And yet, there has been one constant. The Duke and Duchess have stayed side by side.
They've obviously reached a situation where they're very comfortable in one another's company.
There's a great warmth. They are so fond of each other and know each other inside out.
Whatever happens in the future, they have each other's backs. They're each other's greatest support. They will always be together.